Hey everyone, welcome back to High Tea Hoops. This is Brian Bosche at the Duke of Hoops, and as always, I am joined by Skylar. What's up, Skylar? The Duchess.
Hello.
And today, it's going great, Skylar. You doing good?
Thanks. Yeah, good.
Today we have
just need to get that in there.
We have a special guest today. All of you probably know him already. Yani, Sky Sports presenter from the Anytime NBA podcast. Yani, what's up? Welcome to the show.
What a time to be alive. I'm here to have some serious fun. Great. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Skylar. What a time.
Yeah, it's always funny when I list, like I've listened to Anytime NBA, great show. You should go check it out. But it's so funny when I'm just like listening to you all the time. And then we actually have a conversation. I'm like, oh shit, I have to respond now. I'm not used to that.
You used to just going in,
I can just listen, fly on the wall. But today I will be hosting, and this is our Tea Time podcast show.
Oh, fantastic.
We have the Sunday roast, dive a little bit deeper. This one's a little lighter, more casual. Go into some bubble talk, go into some roasts and who's hot or not. So I'm just going to kick off to you, Yani, with our first question. Who's been your favorite team to watch in the bubble?
Is it recency bias? Because I watched the Blazers last night, and I think it might be the Blazers.
Yeah.
And I'm on this Suns train. Everyone knows I'm on this Suns train. I'm on a lot of trains. I've got
There's a lot of trains to be on.
There's a lot of trains to be gotten. Do you know what I mean? I've got my rail card, 33% off, 16 to 25. But it might be recency. But Dame dropped 61 last night. Obviously, right now it's Wednesday. And yeah, they beat the Mavs 134 to 131. And I'm just amazed every single time. I was impressed. I've been impressed by Dame for a long time, but I feel like he's just figured it out. So the answer there is the Trailblazers in at 1 and the Suns sneaky in at 2. Oh, and the Raptors at 3.
Yeah, love that Raptors pick. Yeah, the top two, the Suns and the Blazers. I love that there is this fight for the 8th seed because that is making the game so much more fun to watch and has definitely increased their intensity.
Incredible. Obviously, we've got those last games coming up Thursday night.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens there.
Skylar, your favorites or favorite?
I was going to say the Blazers too. I just can't get enough of Dame. And we talk a lot about how like the Lakers, you can tell that they really like each other and they really enjoy playing together. And you can see that with the Blazers as well. And so I just love, Dame's obviously killing it, but I've been having a really fun time watching Melo too. And he's so skinny and he's so in shape and he looks like he's having fun and he's nailing threes and he just looks great. So yeah, I was going to say the Blazers too.
Yeah. It's actually mad that he's the only Don in the NBA still posting up.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
It's
love to see it.
They put the ball into Melo and everyone just clears out. I'm sitting there like, oh yeah.
Yeah, Skylar, this is a shout out to you at Michigan. He got Trey Burke on him, and he was just licking his lips in the post. Just immediately back down. Everyone went to the other corner. I was like, he's going to eat on Trey Burke.
Yeah, and no surprise he did. 26 points for Melo last night. Decent.
No surprise.
Amazing. Mine's the Mavs.
I get it.
We talked about this on one of our last shows. They are in all of these close games. They can't really win a lot of them. They always kind of blow it at the end, even if it's a Dame Lillard, 35-foot bounce up and then it swishes through, which kills them. But having Luka and Kristaps actually come together and play really well, and they're battling in the West, they've been my favorite team so far.
I can definitely back the Mavs. Is it a little bit worrying that they sort of keep not winning these close games potentially?
Yes, it definitely
I think it is.
Yeah,
they cannot close the game.
And
also, it doesn't seem like they care to close. Luka is, God bless Luka. He always looks so happy to be playing basketball. Just he looks like a little kid who's literally just still so excited to turn up every day. But even when they're losing, he's just all right, I'm just playing basketball. It's it's just, there's not an intensity there yet.
Yeah, I can kind of get it.
It's the Bucks game though. There was, and he actually closed that one out after blowing it a few other times. So that one gives me a little bit of hope that they can. And I think that was one of Luka's best games I've ever seen him play.
That stat line was ridiculous. Was it 19 assists or 19 rebounds? I don't even know now.
Both. Who knows? He's getting 30, 20, and 20.
I don't even know what to do with the kid. Worrying slightly. So the Mavs obviously lost to the Blazers last night, which means that they're pretty much just locked in for the 7th.
Yeah.
And so they definitely have to play the Clippers as opposed to kind of pushing to play the Nuggets and pushing up that 6th seed, which is, just problematic.
Very, very meaningful. Nuggets are much easier to handle than the Clippers. As me, a Nuggets fan, I can definitely, we need to get the Nuggets. They didn't even start their starters in the 4th quarter, which we'll go into later.
Yeah, that's it. It goes. I'd say it kind of goes a little bit both ways. The Clippers should definitely be a little bit scared of the Mavs, but not too scared. That's it.
All right, Yanni, least favorite team to watch, or have you just not watched them, or have you actually bit the bullet and watched them?
You know what? Has it been bad? I haven't watched the Kings, and I haven't.
I haven't either. I haven't
watched
a single minute of the Kings.
I know the Kings. I love De'Aaron Fox, but it's just Walton ball. Like they just kind of they just mill about. There's not really much going on. I've got a lot of reason to love the Kings as a fan of basketball and just a bit of a purist. But right now, with all this going on, I ain't got time to watch the Kings, and I certainly don't have enough time to watch the Wizards.
No, both of them are bad. Except when Giannis headbutts Mo Wagner, which we'll also get into later. Then I'll watch the clips. Skylar, your least favorite team to watch in the bubble?
Same. I haven't watched the Kings literally at all. I don't think I've watched a single minute of them. There's so much good basketball on that I'm not wasting my time on the bad basketball. I'm too busy.
Yeah. A lot of games. I've covered this. I fucking hate watching the Pelicans. I hyped them up in all of our intro preview podcasts. They don't look like they're trying. There's no the body language, the attitude. It just sucks, and they have so much potential, and so I just hate watching that. What
a flop! What a monumental flop!
Unbelievable.
People them having a 37% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No. Sure.
And then Zion coming back. We've covered this, but he's not coming back. He's not playing in crunch time. The whole team isn't coming together. They look like they don't want to play. They're so frustrating. But we can move on from that. I've bitched about the Pelicans enough on this podcast.
We get into this every podcast.
That's because I love them. The Bane shot of Zion in the weight room got me so hyped for them to come back and just.
And then he came back chunky again. I was like, what?
He put on 30 pounds between that photo and the restart.
Bang,
it just shows you.
Play on the outside.
Angles matter. Angles and lighting. That's what it's all about on Instagram. Let's move on to our next takeaway. Skylar, do you want to launch this one off?
Sure. So, we've been talking about everything going on surrounding Damian Lillard. He got into it a bit with Paul George and Pat Bev against the Clippers the other week when he couldn't close out that game and it wasn't Dame time. And since then, he's just been insanely committed to just putting up fuck you points every single night. Just proving all of the haters and losers wrong.
Trademarked.
Fuck you points. I mean, last night there 61 points against the Mavs. Was that last night?
Yeah.
I'm losing track of time. But he hit that game winner and put some respect on my fucking name. And people later asked him who that was to, and he said it was to the media, which I was kind of expecting. I don't know, everyone who's doubted it. I don't know, not the media specifically. He said he turned to the media row who was sitting there at the game. He looked at them.
Yeah,
which is intense, honestly.
I kind of back it. He's been playing at a level now for the last 2 years. I mentioned before that he should really be getting more recognition, and he's still the kind of guy that it's not been that long since he was left out of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
It's really not been that long. And when you think about this guy, 61 points last night, being left out of an All-Star game, of course it wasn't this season, but still just a bit techie.
Yeah. And it's what does he have to do to start getting into the conversation with Curry? Because, that's always the comparison. Curry always overshadows him. But similar 3-point percentage, similar leadership positions on the team. They've started. Yeah. It's they're 1 and 2, and he's never in those. There's just Curry, and then there's a big drop off to Dame from what people write, which is probably why he directed at the media.
And it also kind of works sort of as his persona. Do you know what I mean? Fuck everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just screaming that all the time kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with that game, he was the only player besides Wilt to have more than 3 60-point games in one season, which I was surprised when I saw that stat that Harden hadn't done that.
I know what you mean. I feel like he should have done it in the last 3 years. Apparently
Yeah.
not. He's a 50-point man.
He's a 50. Yeah, he doesn't go to
just
60.
a 50 man.
Not hitting that
Just
60
50.
yet.
He's just a 50 man. No,
Fair.
I remember the famous LeBron versus the Hornets 61-point game. It might have been 63. I can't remember. But sort of that felt like a monumental performance. And Dame sort of casually dropped 61 yesterday.
Yeah.
You know,
It feels
what I mean?
weird. It feels weird with the bubble too, where there aren't fans.
Yeah,
Where they're not like
how
going crazy.
That was my takeaway from last night's game. Dame's hitting these shots, and it's just it's unjust that there's no fans.
Yeah.
The whole
I
place,
thought that with the Devin Booker shot.
yeah.
Like, I wanted fans there for that so badly.
Oh, word. A real shame, but at least we got a ball back.
Yeah. And are you leaning towards? I haven't listened to the episode that dropped this morning, Yanni, but are you leaning towards Dame as the bubble MVP?
Dame is indeed my bubble MVP.
Okay.
It's close. I will chuck TJ Warren in there, as well as Devin Booker. I think it's a 3-man thing.
Yeah.
Definitely a 3-man thing. All bubble team considerations. Essentially those guys, considerations to Michael Porter Jr. and AD, really.
Yeah. Got it. All right. Next category. Let's keep running through these. Yanni, who do you want to see in that 8th spot? Or let's start. Who do you want in the playoff game, the play-in game? What 2 teams?
I met with a friend of mine who's a Spurs fan last night for a cheeky little just beverage, and the first thing he said to me was, "I really don't want us to make it," which is nuts as a Spurs fan. So that's all you need to know. So if he doesn't think that the Spurs should make it, I definitely don't. Although
so they're off.
If they have to, at least the whole playoff narrative with Pop will be there. I need some in, right? So sack the Spurs off. It's Blazers and Suns. It's so clearly Blazers and Suns. It's one of the most cut and dry things, alongside Giannis being the MVP. I won't have any other words. What a mini series that will be. Buckets on buckets on buckets. Dame versus the Blazers will beat them. The Blazers will absolutely beat them.
Especially if they have to be beaten twice. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got no doubt in my mind the Blazers will beat them, but at least the Suns will be there. There's Devin Booker's been dropping consistent 35s a night.
Yeah.
There's a strong chance that he does
exactly
that.
35.
Exactly.
35. It's like exactly that every time. He's like a machine.
He does his thing and then sort of checks out. It's like, all right, done.
Yeah, I got it. Skylar, any argument on your side for the Grizzlies in the play-in?
No, I don't want to see it. They've been bad, and like I've said this a million times. I love watching Jamal Murray. If he gets injured in this bubble because he's coming down from a dunk on 1 foot, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, they're not as exciting of a team as the Suns and the Blazers. Like, I would much rather see them play, and also I don't want to see Ja get hurt. Yeah, and also the Grizzlies are boring.
Last point on the Grizzlies, like that before the bubble, I was happy to buy into the narrative of, oh, everyone's disrespecting us, everyone's saying that we're not going to make it. I again was really happy to buy into that, but obviously they kind of played like shit, and Jaren Jackson Jr. gets hurt. Yeah, run it back next time, guys. Sweet one. See ya.
Yep. And Zion and Ja, top 2 rookies, no playoff experience this year. Just kick it to next year.
Absolutely none. That being said, to what you said earlier, who do I want to see in that? It's the Blazers for me.
Yeah, me too.
I just think this is Dame. Dame is a top 10 NBA player. The Suns don't have a top 10 NBA player. And I want to see the best first round series possible. Yeah. And I think it would just be wildly unjust if Damian Lillard doesn't make the playoffs. Big up to the Suns, and of course I love the Suns. Big up to the Suns for making this late surge, but like
they're not
the Blazers should be there. If Nurkic was healthy all year, they'd be a 4 or 5.
Yep.
Which is nuts, by the way. The West is stacked.
So many good teams.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. If the Mavs are the 7th seed with an MVP from Luka, it's insane.
I don't know what to do. Just quick point. I don't think we've had such a good league in a very long time.
Yeah. Super deep.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a league this good in a very long time. What a time to be alive.
It's great. That's why big proponents. You see Skylar Sonics hat. Just bring in a Las Vegas team. Bring in a Seattle team. It's deep. There's enough players. Let's just go to 32. All right.
32.
Let's go to our next topic. Yanni, I'm throwing this to you. There is a wide mix of how teams are approaching the bubble. Some are resting players on back-to-backs. Some are kind of checking out, not playing any of the starters. The Suns and the Trailblazers are obviously going all for it. How do you think about this bubble playing experience? It seems like games are all over the place. Do you think it's like the elite teams are resting, the other ones are ramping up? How do you kind of view what teams are doing in this bubble experience?
I think the important thing to remember when it comes to the bubble is that this is literally just the end of the season. As a normal life end of the season would be, you get teams resting, you get teams sort of not really putting that much into it. I think the bubble itself has made the end of the season more exciting, certainly more exciting than it normally is. It's just as it normally is. The big teams not wanting to show their cards.
Yep.
Denver the other night.
So crazy.
Denver the other night against LA, just not wanting to show any of their cards and passing it to Bol under the hoop just for a 2-point shot when they're 3 points down.
I know. I was like, what are you doing?
Watch that. Yeah, no, that's it. But these teams are just not really wanting to show their cards, which is fair play. The playoffs are on the horizon. And whilst I've been, and us as a wider NBA community have been sort of getting caught up in these 8 games, it's time to remember now that the real reason we're here, playoff time.
Yep.
That's exactly it.
Skylar, if you were a coach of one of these teams, you're the coach of the Spurs versus the Lakers. Are you gonna rest if you're a top seed? Are you gonna pull players out? Are you not gonna show your cards? Do you like that they're doing that, or would you rather like have everyone play just to kind of get ramped back up for the playoffs?
I think there's a lot going on. It's not just like, are you playing your players or are you resting your players? I think like a lot of teams needed to get back into like game shape. Like there's truly nothing you can do to emulate like basketball game playing shape. And so those players weren't going to be able to do that on their own when they were quarantined. So there's something definitely to be said for just like getting players in enough minutes to get themselves back into shape. I also think that there's like a certain rhythm that they should have gotten back into. So like with Harden and Braun, you could see that they were kind of trying to take some rest, but also get some good minutes and some solid minutes so that they could get into a rhythm, get back into the offense. I think some teams are kind of like seeing where their players are at, kind of going deep down the bench to see like how the guys fared in quarantine, whether they were staying in shape. You see like the Mavs, Trey Burke coming out and really impressing in the bubble after doing almost nothing this season. So there's like something to be said for that. There's like a lot of different stuff going on, and it's beyond just like players need to rest or players need to get back into it.
Yep. Agreed.
Notable on these deep benches, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist got minutes yesterday in the Blazers game. I haven't seen that done for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Gets to the line, drives and one, and I just remember sitting there thinking, I can't wait to see this shot form. And I can confirm it's as bad as it was before. It's always bad.
Hasn't improved.
It's so bad.
Also, there's a guy on the Spurs called Keldon Johnson.
Some of these lineups are insane. I don't even know who these players are.
But he just keeps dropping buckets. And I feel like the Spurs, I won't obviously spend too long on the Spurs because who needs to? But they've just got so many of these guys that are like kind of good. You can't have like 8 kind of good players, can you? Do you know what I mean?
The only way it's working is because of Becky.
I feel like that's what the Nets are doing too.
Yeah, true.
The Nets have a bunch of guys I've literally never heard of, and they're all kind of good, and it works.
Yeah, we'll go into that with who's hot or not because I have some Nets takes. But to close the takeaways out, Skylar, you have not a special relationship, but you're U of M, same year as Mo Wagner.
Weird.
I know. Sorry, that was
a special relationship.
I'm not cutting that though. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have Mo Wagner. You guys graduated same year at U of M?
No,
at
not
Michigan?
same year. We were there for 2 years at the same time. Yeah. But I got to see him play at Michigan a lot, and we lived near each other for a while, so I would see him a lot. My favorite thing about what?
I was just gonna say, I was making fun of you before the season that Mo Wagner wouldn't get any minutes and was just not doing anything, and now last night he just
like
comes into the limelight.
Story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Mo Wagner was like literally my favorite player to ever watch at Michigan just because he's a really fun player, which you won't see in the NBA as much, but just trust me, he was really fun to watch in college. But he was like one of the best players I've ever seen at like getting under his opponent's skin. Like I
Yes.
don't know what he's saying on the court or what little jabs he's throwing, but he's just so good at pissing people off. Like there's just so many videos of like our opponents just losing their shit against him. And like this happened like 2 years ago. He dunked on Draymond, and Draymond like wanted all the smoke. He like got dunked on and was literally ready to fight Mo Wagner over it. So
That's,
I was not at all surprised that Mo Wagner was on the receiving end of this Giannis headbutt. But what the fuck is Giannis doing?
I don't know.
He's lost his mind.
Again, I'm not surprised either, but why headbutt the 10th man on the Wizards?
Mo Wagner literally must be that good at getting under skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his special talent.
The thing is, like,
Yeah.
just casuals will sit there and just be like, oh, like he's just this nice dude on the end of the bench. And here he is riling up the MVP. It's worth noting, by the way, that I am Algerian and Zinedine Zidane is Algerian. And 2006 headbutt, I'm here for it. I'm all here for it.
We're all
We
headbutts.
all got our jokes off
Giannis
on
was
Twitter
really
last night
tricky.
about Zidane.
A little boom, fine by me.
Just a little one. It was
little-
light.
Just a light one.
Just to
No,
show
be
him he's
fair-
taller.
To be fair to Giannis, he gets baps like every game for the last 5 years at least, not including his rookie year when he was camping out on the 3-point line and his shot stroke looked a lot better.
Yep.
But yeah, he does get beaten up every game.
I
Yeah.
feel like he's pretty bad too, though. Like he gets away with murder because he's Giannis. That first week back, when literally everyone was getting technicals over saying shit, I don't know, like literally nothing, and Giannis was like hitting guys in the balls and like telling a
Right.
ref he was gonna fuck a guy up, and like Giannis has been wilding in this bubble and has not gotten texts for him, and so this was just he's been testing these limits. And he realized that there kind of weren't any, and so he went for it.
It's mad. I don't know if we've ever had a player if he continues like this, which I'm happy for him to be this guy, this real dog. I don't think we've ever had a player who's so sort of like happy-go-lucky off court, and they're just an absolute animal on the court. I'm here for it.
Yeah, he's gotten in multiple
I'm here
fights.
for it too.
Is he getting suspended? He's got to, right? At least a one game.
He has to.
Forced rest before the playoffs start. It's not going to hurt him too much.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. Who's hot and who's not? We've covered the Suns. That was first on my list. Anything to add?
Devin Booker is shooting from all angles. He's killing it in the bubble. He's showing up in Diana Taurasi GOAT shirts, and he's shooting his shot at Kendall Jenner on Instagram. So he's really just winning on all aspects.
D-Book don't miss. He just doesn't miss.
He said he doesn't take shots that he what was the quote?
Oh yeah,
he doesn't take shots to miss.
Doesn't think he's gonna make.
Yeah,
that is hilarious now when you think about it in reference to commenting on Kendall Jenner's Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's obviously 23. D-Book is like, what do I want to say? The face of NBA culture in a way. Like, do you know what I mean? He pops up in Drake videos. He's in Drake lyrics. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like he's just one of the coolest cats in the league.
For someone who plays for the Suns, you're right. He pops up a lot more than that role should.
Yeah. Everyone loves him. And too, right, they should. The kid's a bucket. I don't have anything more to say on D-Book.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can't wait to see him over the next few years.
All right, moving on to, probably Mo's favorite topic. The Celtics, 4-game win streak.
Oof.
I mean, these are great teams that they won against. It's the Nets, Grizzlies, Raptors, and Magic. So it's a 4-game win streak, but...
So are they not hot? Are they just doing what they should do?
I really struggle to put any praise upon the Celtics. So I'm just giving the full picture here. Adding context.
You're not a massive fan of the Celtics?
No, who is?
Fantastic news. I'm on that train as well. Still 33% off.
All right.
No, I get free tickets for that one. No, yeah, 4-game winning streak for the Celtics. To be fair, they kind of did need that after the way they started.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, in general, 4-game win streak's a 4-game win streak, and if they can take that into the playoffs against Philly, then I'm sure they will. Yeah, it's just Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are just the most impressive young wings in the league.
Yeah, together on the same team. It's really fun to watch.
Incredible to watch. Of course, I have my disdain for the Celtics for reasons, but I'm a basketball fan, so obviously I love those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to remove them from hot, though. They're just doing what they should do. Sorry, Mo.
They're not hot.
They're not hot.
There.
They're just beating bad teams. And then the Raptors, who are good. But okay, Yanni, are the Nets hot? They're 5-2 in the bubble, 3 straight wins against the Bucks, Clippers, Magic. Are the Nets hot?
I think they are.
I think they are.
It makes no sense, but
Joe Harris with a beard is just like, you can't beat him?
It's one of these. They could have gone 0-8 and no one cares.
Yeah.
They really could have gone 0-8 and no one cares. And they're still looking ahead to next year. But yeah, fascinating. It's great to see. Imagine they pull off a first round upset. Don't do this to me. Don't.
It would be insane. Well, they have Karis LeVert and Joe Harris, so they have some of these good young players.
This wouldn't be We Believe Warriors. This would be something we've never seen.
This would be the replacements, where it's a bunch of guys looking for a 10-day contract next season or trying to get on a squad. That's what I think. I think it's like all these substitute players coming in that are wanting to prove themselves. Yeah. So this is for a lot of them. They might not play next year, so they have to win now, and they're trying to prove their worth now.
That's it. They've got Chris Choza, who
sounds like unbelievable.
Who is a guy I really like, but another one of these guys that is essentially on a 10-day and kind of got cut this season, brought back, started playing really well just before quarantine hit, and then all these guys. I mentioned it on the other show. These Nets guys have done exactly what they need to, hopefully, to stick around for next year. If the Nets go ahead and make a load of free agent signings or a load of moves, it'll kind of be a bit of a dampener. Like, these guys have really worked their ass off. Yeah. Just to sort of prove that they can hang around when KD and Kyrie come back. And then it's go time. It's championship mode. Fantastic that they can go from being a G League team to championship mode next year, which they will.
Yeah, it's going to be a really weird transition seeing them with KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, and then the East is somewhat stacked.
For the first time in a long time.
Well, first time in a long time. If we're considering the Magic, quick one. Who apart from the Magic can we even consider to make waves next year in the East? I don't think there is anyone. Maybe the Hawks. Oof.
No.
Right. Okay, so it will be 1-8 with the Magic bit.
I think it's the Magic. Wizards, if John Wall can get, I haven't seen him healthy in a long time.
No, you're right. It's probably not the Wizards. It's not the Hornets. It's not the Cavs. It's not the Hawks. Maybe the Cavs will make me eat my words. Who knows? But yeah, good to see from the Nets. Absolutely. On that train.
Skylar, who else do you have that's hot in the bubble?
Should we talk about Kuzma?
If you want to,
go on then.
It's Kuzma. Skylar hates Kuzma, so I love it.
I do hate Kuzma. Honestly, we don't have to get into it. It doesn't have to be a whole thing.
Our whole Lakers preview podcast was just, Kuzma. And now he's coming through.
Kuzma and I grew up like 15 minutes from each other, so like I have a lot of like Kuzma knowledge. I don't know. Kuzma, nice. Whatever. He might be hot. He had 25 against Denver, 21 against Houston. Obviously hit that game winner over Bol. Yep. My favorite part of this, though, was in his like post-game media scrum when he said that if Jesus was in front of him, he would still shoot. I saw someone on Twitter later that night look up how tall Jesus was, which, first of all, no clue if this is accurate or if anyone even has a way of figuring out if this is accurate. But it said Jesus was 5'5", so they were like, all right, Kuzma, you ain't shit shooting over Jesus.
Is that with or without sandals?
Jesus is 5'5", 5'6" with sneakers on.
Well, everyone's hitting shots over Bol which is so annoying. Chris Paul's hitting jumpers over. Bol, just block some people, please, on the wing. As a Nuggets
I mean,
fan,
people are saying it was over Bol, but he was kind of wide open, and Bol was like 10 feet away and could basically get his arm up kind of in front of him because he's so long.
But it was wide open because Bol missed the switch.
Yeah, it was bad defensive play.
Yeah,
it's like kind of not fair to make that the same thing as like Chris Paul literally right over Bol.
Multiple times in a row. Yanni, who do you have as hot in the bubble?
I mentioned him earlier, Michael Porter Jr., and this gives me a fantastic reason to talk about the Nuggets. I enjoy talking about the Nuggets, especially with a Nuggets fan. Let's bring it. I really, really like this team, and I've done a lot of deep dives into the Nuggets. There's just so much to like. What? You guys are so deep.
Yeah, we have too many players.
You guys are so deep. How good is Plumlee? Because the guy can pass.
Yeah, he is a good post player.
As far as the second center goes, he's so good.
Well, especially in that Lakers game, it was him and Dozier, just pick and rolls over and over again.
I was happy. I was happy to really discount PJ Dozier. I didn't like him early, but he just keeps proving me wrong. No, Jamal Murray is a player that I'm higher on than others. I assume almost all Nuggets fans are pretty high on him because they watch him game in, game out.
High yet frustrated this season. He didn't really quite make that next leap.
No, he didn't, especially since he's got that big contract. But yeah, I'm happy to go Nuggets hot because if Michael Porter Jr. stays doing what he's doing, and I don't really see a reason why he wouldn't, then you've got one of the most perfect blends of teams. Jokic, the best passing center in NBA history.
Yep.
Jamal Murray being that sort of primary guard, and then Michael Porter Jr. coming off back cuts. Fantastic.
There's an interesting Nuggets thread going on of if Michael Porter Jr. should start or not. And it's do you roll with the squad that you had all season that's strong, or do you see if you could get to that next level with Michael Porter Jr.?
So it's basically Will Barton or Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, or maybe even just take Gary Harris out, or there's a lot of options, but it's is there a higher ceiling with Michael Porter Jr. and you just go for that, or do you stick with the squad that you've had all season?
I think Mike Malone will be scared of the mistakes that Michael Porter Jr. will make just being a rookie.
Yeah.
And they're literally bound to happen. It is quite nuts. I'm starting to find this. So I'm out playing basketball, and if I'm playing against a 19-year-old, it's crazy how you just sort of get them on things like pump fakes and it just being a rookie. And to hark back, Mike Malone will be hesitant, I think. Even though he's played in big minutes in the bubble, end of the NBA season, up until this point, his career high was 19, and
he hasn't played much.
Would go games where he's only played 8 minutes. So I'm glad he's proven himself. But it is a good point. Personally, as a fan, I'd like to see Michael Porter Jr. start, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Will Barton, Gary Harris, and Michael Porter Jr. is back on the bench.
Yeah, especially I think it's looking like they're going to play the Mavs the Jazz. The Jazz first round. I'd rather play the Jazz than the Mavs. Yeah, I think we're losing on purpose. I think that's why we pulled all the starters. We want that 3 seed.
Yeah, big time.
Just hate that Michael Porter Jr. just will straight up refuse to play defense for full quarters at some points. He just wants to ball out so hard. And then it's he needs rest, so he just rests on defense. Did you guys watch that game where he got pulled because he was literally not playing defense and he was throwing a fit about it on the court?
Yeah. But I think he just checks out. I don't even think it's effort. I think he just is too just like Yanni's saying, you're not really situationally aware, so you just kind of check out for a little bit instead of staying that intense the whole time, which is hard.
Yeah. Mental thing, isn't it?
All right, let's keep this moving. Skylar, who is not hot? Who do you got first?
I got TJ Warren first. Let's get into it. We just talked about on Sunday. So excited to see TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler play each other after all of the beef during the regular season, and we weren't even really sure that both of them were going to play. And so then when it was announced that they both were going to play, I was so excited. But TJ Warren didn't do anything. He played for 29 minutes. He had 12 points, 0 assists. He had 0 points in the second half.
Yeah.
It's funny, the way that these mental things can work, it looked like, I'm not saying this is what it was, but it always looks like he can't do anything against Jimmy Butler because Jimmy just gets in his head.
Quite somewhat disappointing. I have a little bit of faith that that TJ will step it up kind of in the playoffs. I hope so anyway. But if you're asking me TJ Warren or Jimmy Butler, like Jimmy's got him on clamps.
It's Jimmy,
I would have said that. I'd say it 10 games out of 10 games. Jimmy's got him on clamps.
This is after Marley. What you or Marley posed the question: who's better, Bubble, TJ Warren, or Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
I think we've answered. I think we've answered that at this point. Yanni, who do you got as not hot?
Who I have as not hot. I've been mildly disappointed with the Oklahoma City Thunder, considering I'm very much a fan of them. Just over these sort of like last games, and I know they're somewhat resting. Interesting, actually. Marley touched on it once or twice. It's pretty much down to Steven Adams.
Mm-hmm.
They win with Steven Adams on the court, and they don't without him. And he's actually become a really interesting. He's become a passer. And for anyone that watches Thunder games will know that he sort of sets up top of the key.
Yeah, just
kind of like Jokic does with the one hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. So yeah, I really need to see the Thunder step up there. The Jazz,
you had that one. Yep.
Yeah, the Jazz, I'm not wildly impressed by. They're the team that everyone wants to play against. And for that reason, yeah, the whole dynamic with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, just not ideal. And I don't really see them coming out of the first round. Yeah, not impressed. In terms of teams, I could harp on about all the other teams that really aren't hot.
Yeah, but these are the ones that.
But yeah, these are the ones that really should be pushing on. And yeah, the Jazz won.
Yeah, the Jazz, that they didn't have such high expectations because Bogdanovich is out, and I think he was their second leading scorer. But you would hope that Gobert, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Donovan Mitchell, like they could be a little bit more competitive. But yeah, I just don't. They've been a little, but yeah, they're just only 2 wins in the bubble. They just aren't impressing at all.
Last one, the Magic.
Yeah.
What am I doing with the Magic? I felt like this for the last 3 years with the Magic. Like the Magic are amplified by Aaron Gordon. You feel the same way about Aaron Gordon as you do about the Magic. It's kind of just like yeah.
Yes.
I feel nothing towards Aaron Gordon. Yeah, I feel nothing towards him or towards the Magic. It's just I don't care.
They signed Vucevic to that massive extension in the summer. Like, guys, really, are we doing this? Like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
cool.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
They've lost the last 5, I think. It's just like, all right, what are you doing out there?
Yeah.
Mine to close out this category is Deandre Ayton. This is just off the court. You miss your test. This might be bubble, but DeAndre Ayton, I'm just like I would love to be in the bubble, seeing him miss the test, having to go get it, and then sprinting across campus to join the game like last minute. What are you doing, man? You're trying to make the playoffs. You're like the second, third most key player on this team, and you miss your test. I think he was on a podcast or something, so maybe credit to him. His priorities were straight. But you can't miss your test, man, when you're in a playoff battle. Come on.
What's hilarious is that the podcast he was on was the Woj pod, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get the notification for it. I get the notification for the Woj pod first. And then I'm like, oh, DeAndre Ayton's gone on the podcast. Fantastic. And then sort of like an hour later, I see that he's missed the thing. I'm sitting there going, and I haven't listened to the pod yet, but apparently DeAndre talks about sort of second-year leap and how he's become more mature, etc. And then he goes and misses the thing.
Yeah. I would love, like, Woj is just like live tweeting like DeAndre Ayton is currently missing his test because I'm on a pod with him. Breaking news.
Takes a video of DeAndre Ayton sprinting. No, it's like I've never related something more. Yeah, guys, no, I feel more mature now.
Missed his test.
Find myself sprinting across campus as a man that sprints for many trains. I've mentioned trains far too much on this podcast, but as a man who sprints for many trains, I can sympathize.
Yep. All right, Skylar, I'm going to let you take this next category, which is always your favorite. What's up next?
Is this the first time we're doing it?
Yeah.
I don't think we did it last
week. As its own category
week.
segment.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some fits. I'll keep it quick because I know everyone doesn't really care about fits, but
No,
I
we'll
do,
get-
and
we'll
I
get
like
there.
talking about it.
I
We'll
love a
get
good
there.
fit.
I'm building the interest. Okay, number 1, we got Sue Bird and
Sue
her
Bird
Dior
and the
Jordan 1s.
Jordan. Woo!
Ugh,
Good.
they're
Incredible.
so pretty, and it's such a flex because we see like NBA players like wearing these extravagant shoes and extravagant fits all the time. We don't see it as much with the WNBA players. I mean, they just straight up don't make as much money. And so Sue Bird coming out and like before this game when she wasn't even playing in these $14,000 shoes. Just what a flex. I love Sue Bird.
She looks incredible, and yeah, those Jordan ones might be some of the nicest I've ever seen in my life.
Her and
Yeah,
Rapinoe are
they're
just fucking chilling in the Wubble together. It's amazing.
They seem to be having a great time.
Yeah. They needed a little reality show in there.
Yeah. Bring back their Instagram show. Okay, number 2, we got LeBron walking in with just barely a shirt on, just going
Open
full
shirt.
Orlando Vice,
Yep.
full
Yeah.
open shirt. And then Dwayne Wade later imitating him on the post-game show. Just incredible. The thing I love about LeBron is sometimes he'll dress really well. Like we saw him for the first bubble game. He had this like incredible matching set it was so good. And so like we have seen him dress really well, but for the most part, Bron's fits they're a little bit playful and they're always just a little bit cringy. And I love that about LeBron.
Just big dad vibes there from LeBron. Big dad vibes.
Yeah.
It was great.
Actually,
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I was
She's
going to say
launching into the next one.
He's walking through, open shirt, and then Dwayne Wade copies him. And then I think it was Jared Greenberg shows LeBron, Dwayne Wade copying him. I'm sitting there going, this is the best league in the world. I can guarantee you lot, this shit don't happen in football.
No.
That's why we love the NBA.
The players are elevated. Yeah.
This is exactly it. No, big thumbs up from me on that LeBron fit.
Yanni, we're voting after this for our favorite. So Skylar's going to list these
great.
out and then we'll tell.
You got me too excited when you said he was going full dad mode because our guy Mello, who I brought up earlier, he really went full dad mode with one of his walk-in fits this week. He also did the same fit for post-game press, which I loved. It was just this incredible like black long sleeve polo with stripes with like a cargo short and like a printed Converse and high socks, and he had the buffs, the glasses. He looked like such a dad taking his kid to like the zoo, and I love that, and I love that for Mello. And it looked so funny in the post-game press with his mask and the buffs.
Yep.
It was just so good.
And then last, Skylar, this is mine.
Yeah, Brian threw this one in
categories.
There. All right, do you want to do it?
Yeah, the Raptors, Grizzlies throwback jerseys. I fucking love all Canada. I love when they do these. These are two of my favorite jerseys in history. And so this isn't really fit, Skylar, but for me, it's a fit.
No.
This is a good matchup.
I saw you put this and I was like, this is not a fit, Brian.
I know. I break your rules on these categories all the time.
All the time. No, I do. I love these jerseys. These are two of my favorite jerseys. Honestly, a lot for my eyes to take when both were on the court at the same time.
Yeah, very
There's
bright.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
Very bright. Okay, Yanni.
I always complain about like when like the Clippers play like the 76ers and it's just like the inverse of the jerseys, like how annoying that is to look at. But this was too much.
Yeah, very bright. Yanni, those are your top four. What's your favorite fit of the week?
Favorite fit of the week
Of those four.
I think I'm gonna go Sue Bird.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be real.
Me too.
I think Sue Bird is the overarching number one. I'm gonna go Dad Mello 2. Dad Mello at number 2.
Love Dad Mello.
Yeah, that's for me. Yeah, but Sue Bird overarchingly at number 1.
I agree. Let's close the pod out with some bubble life. So I have a first question for both of you. Dion Waiters was shown rewatching Game of Thrones from season 1, episode 1.
Gets like that.
What show, Skylar, you start first, are you bringing to the bubble to rewatch in its entirety?
Damn.
don't know.
Yanni,
I honestly feel like Game of Thrones is a good choice because it's long, and so the fact that you're choosing a long show shows that you're confident that you're gonna be in the bubble for a long time. But also, like, I saw him watching like one of the big battle scenes when I think it's like the first battle that Khaleesi brings the dragons in on, and he was watching it like 2 hours before a game. And I was like, honestly, Game of Thrones is like a good show if like you want to get a quick one in before like a game. It's like, it's still like, it kind of hypes you up still. Yeah. So like, I feel like it's a good bubble show.
I agree. Yanni, what's yours?
Damn.
It's a tough one.
It's a good point, right? You kind of, if you pick a short one with 3 seasons, you're just not backing yourself.
No.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, is why I'm going Simpsons, 2,700 seasons, whatever it is. Thank you.
Never ending.
I would probably. I'm a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine guy. I think I could probably rewatch that. I think that's got to be on the list. And I think it's probably about high time I started Breaking Bad.
Ooh, a new show.
Like, gets like that. Yeah, no. I think I'd go that route.
We'd get the Woj bomb of like Yanni missed his test in bubble due to watching Breaking Bad and forgetting when his test was scheduled.
Yanni says he's quitting basketball to go and cook meth in a caravan.
Supplying the bubble with its meth needs. Skylar, what is another favorite bubble moment of yours from the last week?
Okay, you took mine off the notes, so I'm just freestyling here and going back into it. I want to talk about how much wine they're drinking because it's so much wine. So I listened to an interview with CJ McCollum, and it was like a long form podcast interview. He was probably on it for like 35 minutes. He literally, every 5 minutes, he was talking about them drinking wine in the bubble. And like, I don't think of CJ as like a big wine guy, so I like started doing a little research. CJ has his own wine label. CJ brought 84 bottles of wine with him to the bubble, which first of all, that shows how far he thinks the Blazers are going in the playoffs. But he's made his room into a wine cellar. So he has those 84 bottles of wine in his room, and he's keeping his room at 60 degrees when he's in it and high 50s when he's not in it, so that he can keep these bottles of wine chilled. And I love that for them. They're there for a good time.
Damn. Wine just doesn't have the reputation beer does, huh? Somebody brought out many beers. He's sitting there going, geez, you're an alcoholic. But these guys, it's just like, oh, what, they love wine. That's great.
It's good for recovery. The antioxidants.
I bet.
Your heart.
Unbelievable. What, so every man's just getting mashed every night in the lobby?
Yeah. I think they go into those little ice baths out in the yard and just sipping on the wine.
Definitely a rich person thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I can't even imagine. Like, wine hangovers are the worst. How are they playing basketball after drinking wine every night?
They're not real humans.
Do you reckon they're having?
A bottle each a night?
Yeah.
I think these guys are just different. I don't think it affects them.
Do you reckon the Uber athlete sort of thing, I don't know, does wonders for them in terms of less hangover or gets them less drunk? I don't know.
I don't know. How does that work?
But you just like hear Allen Iverson or Michael Jordan, like them partying all night and still just coming in the next day without sleeping. Like they're just different.
Yeah, I mean, this is still nothing compared to like what we were seeing on The Last Dance. So.
Yeah, true.
Yanni, your favorite bubble moment so far?
Damn, my favorite bubble moment. Remember when Rashawn Holmes left by like 1 foot out of line?
Yes.
Had to re-quarantine for 8 days.
He got a worse quarantine than Lou Will, who was just at a strip club.
Which is nuts because that was the most publicity the Kings got the whole time. Yeah. It was literally like the first story. That was literally it. Might have been Chick-fil-A. I've never had Chick-fil-A.
It's great. The owners are a little bigoted, but chicken sandwiches are great.
A little. So
they are bigoted. But
I mean, we all have to like try to convince ourselves that like the human rights things are worth the chicken. So it's probably good that you've never had it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All I ever see is NBA like teams like making rookies buy it.
Yep.
Sounds fantastic.
Skylar, any other favorite moments before I kick to some breaking news to end the pod?
Breaking news. Is it going to be breaking if we do it in 2 minutes? Do you want to do it right now?
It's going to be breaking in 2 minutes, definitely.
Okay, great.
Good clarification, though.
Thanks, Skylar.
Okay, great. Yeah, got you. A little bit more of a serious one. I wanted to talk about Jaylen Brown bringing attention to mental health in the bubble. Literally, my worst nightmare is reading a long quote on this podcast, so I'm not going to do that. But he basically said that when they're in the bubble, they can't escape basketball. Like, they're just there. It's what they have to think about all the time, and they don't really get an escape from, like, their work. And that's kind of something that, you know, we've all kind of been experiencing in the U.S. since the pandemic started now, when we all kind of had to go to work from home. And so, you know, Brian and I have talked about this. It's really fucking hard to always be at work if you're working from home. And so I totally sympathize with this. And it's just like, it's not something that a lot of people are going to talk about because, you know, they have all these amenities and, you know, they're NBA players. This just isn't something we talk about, but it's definitely something to be conscious of. And, you know, especially with like, if guys are, you know, up and down, or if they have an off night, like, just cut them a little slack. Like, everyone's been dealing with the pandemic. It's fucking hard. Everyone has anxiety. Like, it's got to be really hard to be in that bubble.
Yeah, no, big shout out. A lot of these guys are big family men as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can take me and put me in that bubble, and I'm sweet. I'm this young, like, independent, cool in my own space all the time kind of kid, right? But yeah, I very much sympathize with the guys that sort of always in and around their family, never really doing anything else, because that's where the fun's at.
Yeah. And this is a great segue, Skylar, to the breaking news. So this just dropped this morning. Yanni, you were probably playing basketball.
That's it.
Woj bomb. After the first round of the playoffs, players will be allowed to bring in family and established long-standing personal friends into the bubble.
Nice.
So
I thought this was going to be like, what was the breaking news we got during that pod one time? This broke like 2 hours ago, Brian. This is not breaking news.
Yeah, but it's also a podcast. So we're not gonna release this for a bit.
So people don't know. People don't know what time we're recording.
Yeah.
I just saw a lot of people getting their jokes off on Twitter about how all the Instagram thoughts are fucked. But honestly, there have been Instagram thoughts in that bubble already. I know it. So they're fine. Don't worry about it.
Do you think?
Yeah, but these are the rules. These are the rules, Skylar. So they're going to try to prevent that. 4 guests per player, but can be exceeded for children. Guests can travel on team charters following testing, and guests are allowed to attend games. So these people can show up at the games. So we'll actually have fans. And let's see, there's another funny one. Here's who isn't eligible to come into the bubble. The Instagram thoughts. This is the nicest way to describe that of all time. Any individual the player has not previously met in person, or with whom the player has had limited in-person interactions with, for example, known by the player only through social media or an intermediary. That is Adam Silver
so
for
many
no
words.
Instagram
So
thoughts.
funny.
It's so many words just to say Instagram thoughts.
Yeah. But it's
Kendall Jenner is not allowed in the bubble.
Exactly.
I feel like she might be. Yeah, well, just like they dated before. I feel like Devin Booker could make an argument for it. I feel like he could get her in there. Plus, Kuzma's dating Winnie Harlow, so like they're friends. Maybe we just see like a bunch of like actual models inside the bubble sitting courtside at these NBA games.
I would love to see it.
I'm down.
Me too.
All right. Thank you, Yanni, so much for coming on. That concludes our Tea Time show today. And I'm so excited for future Tea Times where we get to see who these people bring in and what drama they're causing. It's just a great bubble life. But Yanni, thanks so much for coming on. Skylar, the Duchess, again, as always, amazing to have you on, even though it's your podcast.
Thanks. It's my podcast.
Thanks, guys.